let's talk about our Attorney General for a little bit here. What a week. You know, I thought we had really seen the worst of him with the, you know, everything he had done up to this point, and then now this asset forfeiture deal comes out where he wants to roll back all the Obama and Holder memos and legislation curtailing asset forfeiture without a criminal conviction. Unbeknownst to me, that we were going to have this whole storm today about Trump saying he wouldn't hire him and all that, but that has nothing to do with what I want to talk about, which is this asset forfeiture memo that came out. Essentially, Jeff Sessions wants to curtail and roll back all the executive memorandums that came out under Obama and his AG Holder, which said you cannot take people's assets if you don't have a criminal case pending. Now that upset a lot of local DAs and police departments because they relied upon the seizure of those funds in order to pay for a lot of things.
And margarita parties, for example.
Exactly. I mean, those are important, right? They boost morale. And so now he wants to go back to the days of being able to take people's assets with no criminal charges. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane that we're going to go back to this after we are now moving to a point where we're back to we're going to be tough on crime, even though we have no criminal charges.
You know what, though? He's really not going back to anything because they're already doing that. I mean, I have a client right now up in Montgomery County who has not been charged with any crime at all. They raided the house, they seized guns and cash and whatnot, and there is a civil forfeiture pending right now. He still has not been charged. We believe the charges are coming, of course, but there's no charges right now, and we've already had to file an answer and whatnot in this civil case in order to preserve his rights with the money and the guns.
And I don't think people understand how broad the Texas forfeiture law is, in that all the state of Texas has to prove by a preponderance of the evidence is that you violated a criminal statute in this state, another state, or federal jurisdiction. They get to basically prove up, even if it's not codified within the Texas Penal Code, they can seek to forfeit your assets. I mean, that just seems like an inherently unfair standard.
Absolutely. They come in and guerrilla-style tactics, guns drawn, and they take all your stuff from you, never put you in handcuffs, never arrest you, and then serve you with papers within a very short period of time, and now you're sitting there with nothing, none of your assets. You have nothing anymore. They can take it all.
And now you're also placed in the Hobson's choice of, they've taken my property, there probably is a criminal investigation.
Do I give up my assets and hope they go away, or do I answer the lawsuit and then risk them filing criminal charges against me?
Or even better, do I risk answering discovery, sitting for a deposition, not invoking my Fifth Amendment in order to try and protect my property rights, and having them use whatever answers I give against me in a criminal proceeding? It's a double-edged sword for people.
Yeah, absolutely.
What advice do you give people in this situation? Silence. I've stumped the panel.
No, I mean, it's very hard because obviously, I mean, anyone who's handled a forfeiture case that parallels a criminal case, you have to invoke the Fifth Amendment, no matter how much money or whatever the property is. And if someone has criminal exposure, unfortunately, they're going to have to give that stuff up. And I mean, it's going to be like one of those federal investigations where they end up with perjury. I mean, being a criminal matter may not even arise, and they give a false statement or something that's not true. And I mean, that they could end up, I mean, there's a million and one ways to hang yourself. But I think as far as Jeff Sessions goes, if we come back 2 years from now, I mean, this is going to be the least of the draconian things he does.
Assuming he doesn't get fired.
Good point, yes.
And that's even, I mean, you're also assuming that we even know about a lot of these things. I mean, that study that came out, I think it was the Institute for Justice, they had talked about, I think it's an advocacy law firm group that represents people that are victims of this, and they said only 1/6 of these cases, these asset forfeiture cases, ever even are heard of. And out of those, there's like over 50% are found to have some issues. But then that goes back to what Rand was saying earlier about people's means to hire an attorney or be able to fight this. A lot of the little money or assets that they had to hire a lawyer or to find adequate counsel for this is gone. They leave them with absolutely nothing. And so we're looking at 5-6 of these asset forfeiture. They're not even litigated. They're not even contested. And the stuff that goes back to that. It's just the bully system. They come in there, guns drawn, bully you, take everything, and you just sit there and shut up because you feel you have nowhere to go.